Hello everyone, welcome to Chapter 7. Chapter 7, we're going to talk about vocabulary and how to teach it as a teacher. So let's go to our Chapter 7. The first part, we're going to talk about the lexical system in English language, that is vocabulary. Then we'll talk about the lexical items. The third thing is that we're going to learn about how to teach vocabulary to our students. And what are their steps, what are their stages. We can teach it in a better and more efficient way. Finally, the most important part is what are the clarification techniques we can use in our class to teach these words in an easier way and our students understand them with more ease. Okay, let's go to the lexical system. Be careful, when we talk about vocabulary, we do not just talk about a word, we talk about the morphology of the word. That is the smallest meaningful unit in the vocabulary. Okay. The next thing that we have to consider is the importance of root. We have suffix, prefix in learning vocabulary. So let's move on to the next parts. We also talk about the importance of connotation or denotation. That is a very close meaning or a direct meaning or a far meaning. For example, when I tell you the word flower, so the denotation is that it's a kind of plant. Okay, you can smell it. You can give it to someone as a gift. But what's the connotation? Connotation is the far meaning. I tell you, hey, you look like a flower. So here is not the flower itself, but it means what? You're beautiful. So this is the denotation and the connotation of a word. Now, let's go to the other parts. In your daily life, you talk about, you share some idioms or daily expressions with your friends. Let's get together. Let's hang out. Let's have fun, okay? All these phrases, which are sometimes like idioms, they are in vocabulary. Sometimes we also have to highlight the importance of context in learning vocabulary, that it becomes like a story. Sometimes collocation, when two words come together, like nuclear family, it means just mom, dad, one or two, okay, children at home. Now, when we a little bit move beyond the word level, we go to lexical items. So lexical items are in fact expressions, sometimes very short phrases we use in our daily life. I give you a list of them, like for example, no problem, cheer up, let's get together, or no problem. See, all of these expressions, they are lexical items. So when you teach, do not just focus on the key words, but phrases and these lexical items. Our students should know this. If they want to communicate in their daily life, inside the class, outside the class, they have to know these words and expressions. Okay, perfect. Now, let's go to the next thing. Now, the next question many instructors around the world have is that how could we teach better? So if you go to teaching vocabulary or lexis, I'm going to highlight some keywords. Usually we emphasize that do not teach the words or vocabulary separately or in a kind of only have one book and teach words every day. Okay. A common question my students have is that what's the difference between vocabulary and word? Be careful, vocabulary is like an umbrella term. So words, idioms, expressions, collocations, they are part of vocabulary. But word is only one specific unit, that's the word. Okay, we usually teach words in a kind of pre-taught activities. For example, I'm going to teach you reading. I'm going to work with you writing or listening. So I give you a bank or a list of words, vocabulary, then we work together, and then boom, we go to the next part. That is what? I'm going to teach you a passage today. I'm going to teach you a listening file or audio thing. We have an audio activity in the class, okay? So as I wrote here, we have the pre-taught before reading, listening, and writing exercises. Sometimes some instructors, they teach words for a warm-up. Okay, if you remember in our chapter 6, that was lesson planning, okay? we taught some new words to our students in a warm-up or leading phase. Now, if you want to teach, what are the basic principles? Number one, always be careful about the time, how much time you're going to devote to teaching vocabulary. The next thing, put the words in a beautiful context. Otherwise, the students don't like this. Do not teach them one by one, okay? For example, tell them that today I'm going to share many words about restaurant, okay? So imagine we are in a restaurant, the topic is about restaurant, and then you teach lots of nice words like waiter, okay, wait the table, we have receipt, okay, welcome to the restaurant, and the menu, and more, okay? So I teach all these words in a specific context for students. The next thing we have to consider is the importance of dictionary. Here, there are two types, monolingual and bilingual. So you have to think which one works better for your students. Perfect. The next thing is that there's a formula called MPF. If you want to teach a word, have this formula in your mind. So M goes to meaning, then we have P goes to the pronunciation of the word, and F is the form or the part of a speech. Is it an adjective, adverb, noun? Okay, we have to also teach this to our students. Perfect. Now let's move on. The next thing that is about useful clarification techniques. Remember, this is very important for your assignment. In your assignment, you need this part. So please read it carefully, line by line. Underline the keywords because we are going to use such techniques for our assignment. Now, the first thing, sometimes students, they don't know the meanings of some words. So what should I do? I come and go for demonstration. I go and explain, okay? So that's the one way. Sometimes you use some visual things in order to demonstrate it. Sometimes oral. It could be when you talk to a student, when you show a map, when you show a picture of, for example, somewhere like traffic jam. So I show, if I want to teach the word jam, I show one picture, there's a traffic, and then there's some, oh my God, oh, okay, this is traffic jam. Okay. Sometimes in my class, if I want to teach, for example, cell phone or a smartphone, I come and show my own smartphone. Or if I want to tell them about a binder, the word is binder, so I just go and show them that, hey everyone, this is the binder. And it goes to their mind easily. This one is the Realia. So Realia is a kind of object the students can see, can feel it in our class, okay? Sometimes some instructors, they draw on the board because they believe that drawing is better for our students. Sometimes we use scales. I'm going to teach you some word like the word frigid. Okay, when you feel cold, so on the board, I write, for example, from frigid, then I go to freezing, and then I go to cold, and then mild, and then I go to a little bit hot, and burning, like this. So this is a very good technique. What I do in my own classes, I call it box, vocabulary box for my students, okay? So I teach them, okay, now open your notebook and write this box in your notebook. So they open it, I write 5, 6, 7 words which are related, they're synonyms, and my students copy or jot them down, okay? Now, let's go to the next common thing. Many instructors, they write synonyms or antonyms for words. This is also very good. There are the other techniques here, how to use dictionaries. We have verbal explanations. We use them a lot in our classes. Finally, some instructors around the world, like in China, Korea, the instructor's mother tongue is Chinese or Korean. So sometimes they translate the meaning. This is not bad, but be careful. This has to be the last step. You go for your demonstration, you go and use your Realia, you explain, you have verbal communication with your students, but finally, if they want to get a 100% comprehension of the word, you go for translation. Okay? Now, just the last part of this chapter is about presentation techniques. we gave you 3 words here. As you can see, the first word is called butcher. The next word is fascinating. Also, we have outrageous. Okay. In your assignment, you have to do the same for us. Like, I'm going to teach the word butcher. To teach the word butcher is to define it to your students. Okay. So I can say that, for example, D1 is definition number 1. A person who sells meat in a shop. So I can define the words. The next word is a little bit more difficult than the first word, is fascinating, or we have outrageous here. For these words, I also use the first technique. I use synonyms and antonyms. I told them the word attractive, charming, appealing. So these are the synonyms, and I can teach the words in this way. Number 2, I use several examples for my students. In this way, I can explain the words sharply. There are the other techniques I wrote for you here, so please read them carefully, especially the clarification techniques, because in the next part, I'm going to talk about your assignment. And we have to use all these techniques to complete your assignment. Now, let's go to your assignment, and I'll explain you more. Now, about your assignment, and for TESOL 150 is your assignment number 2, I'm going to tell you more about. So, in this part, this assignment checks your understanding of the clarification techniques in teaching vocabulary. Okay? So, what's the task? I want you to write, or your instructor wants you to write 1 presentation technique for each of these words we have here. Okay, be careful that some of these words might have several meanings. So you please tell us which meaning you're going to teach to your students. That could be based on their level or your own intention. Now, I gave you 1 example here. Remember, in your chapter, we worked on with the word brochure. Here, I use Realia. So I'm going to tell you about this. Now, the number of words in this assignment is 15. So we want you to write 1 presentation technique for each of them. And if you like it, you can write 2, but for us, minimum, we need 1. The word like the smartphone, skyscraper, comment, and etc. And we tell you that, for example, if this word is verb or noun. For example, here, comment is noun. So please teach us as if this is going to be a noun for your students. Please complete this and send it to your instructor. We want to give you feedback as soon as possible. Thank you.